So Nick, just on a topic that was raised by Gary Evanson at the recent SCTX show about perhaps being a bit cautious about using equipment from countries that have a little bit of a history in espionage, such as China. Obviously, that was meant to be general advice, but in reality, in government, there seems to be a reasonably open policy. How is that possible, given the concerns that Gary had?
Well, clearly the sort of places and people that are making these decisions wouldn't be very happy if I was to discuss it in any depth. Not that I've got much depth knowledge being outside the community now. However, I think it's worth taking it in context. Gary's comments, if you take them at absolute face value of going to a shop, buying something from location X or online vendor Y, are probably entirely valid. However, that's based on the fact that you take something out of a box and use it as it comes out of the box. What is perhaps a better way of considering it is that, and I mentioned no countries or actors when I describe it this way, but if you were to take a piece of hardware that you knowingly has got a particular backdoor or come from a particular location where people want to exploit it, and that's a known factor, and you know that that backdoor is there, you can either repurpose the hardware, as in, for want of a better term, blow the firmware and make sure that the hardware hasn't got anything intrinsically on it, and then repurpose it with your own firmware. Or a slightly more interesting way is if you use two pieces of equipment, and I'll use a firewall as an analogy. If you have a firewall from country A that you know is reporting back to country A, and you have a firewall from country B that you know is reporting back to country B, and you put three of them in front of each other, so A, B, A, then what will happen is that the port or the leakage from firewall A will be picked up by firewall B and flagged, and then the leakage from firewall B will be picked up by the firewall A and flagged. In a most simple term, you use two different pieces of technology to filter each other out. So there are ways and means that you can operate using third-party kit, and frequently, if it is cost effective, if it is cheap but with no risks attached, it's better to do that than go with some Gucci bit of kit that you can't control or actually have any real influence over.
So with just a little bit of planning and forethought, it's possible to buy from those sources.
And also knowledge, and the old adage, caveat emptor, buyer beware. Just be aware what you're getting into when you get into that road, and use professionals to look at it and advise.
Okay, Nick, thanks for joining us, and look forward to more sage advice in the future.
See you soon.